Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well. Today's video is having a look around at something I bought over the weekend through carsboughtformore.com. As always, if you're looking to sell your car, visit carsboughtformore.com, enter your details, and we will try and give you the best price going and arrange to collect the car, pay the same day, not charge fees, all that good stuff. This was from a local chap actually, who I know, and we've done work on this car and other cars. He went to We Buy Any Car and had a price with them. They knocked him down. He thought, you know what, I'll try Joe, which he did, and we beat the price. And we bought it, and I had to buy it because it's a pretty cool car. And what that car is this 2004 BMW 4.8 IS. So it's the 4.8 V8 producing at 355 horsepower. In a sense, this is the predecessor to the X5M that we have these days. So let's have a look. And here it is. And it looks pretty well, doesn't it? It actually looks a lot better in the rain like this than it does in the dry with the rubbish wash that I did in it. But still quite a smart, imposing car, that, isn't it? It looks black, but it's actually a dark blue. I don't know exactly what dark blue. I should have done my research. How much you'll be able to see of that, I don't know. But yeah, it's not black. It is blue. We've got these, what size are they? 20-inch BMW X5 wheels. Pretty common these, aren't they? And you see them on like 3 Series and things like that. Smart looking thing. This is a facelift version. So we've got different headlights and a different grille, I think. But on the whole, still looks quite a smart car, doesn't it? We're talking 19 years old now. I've never been a huge fan of these BMW X5s, to be honest. Certainly weren't driving them, but I don't know. I think as they're coming down in price, they're growing on me, but maybe not for the original price. All the wheels look in really good condition. We've got these huge, like, letterbox twin exhaust tips. Parking sensors, of course. And in behind this panel here, reveals that this car has an LPG conversion, which is just as well because it's quite a thirsty girl. So on the whole, pretty tidy on the outside. What all this rain, aka God's polish, is hiding is there are quite a lot of stone chips in this bonnet. And if we look down the back, there's, I don't know how well I'll be able to show you, quite a few. I don't know if you can see them or not, but someone's done a pretty crap touch up there and just smudged some paint over it. And there are a few bits like that. So the bodywork's not perfect, but it's certainly not bad for a 19-year-old car. And on the whole, it looks very tidy. But this being potentially a sort of, I say it's probably about every old, huge engine car that I buy. But I think these are, in a sense, quite collectible. In fact, the chap who bought this, or sold this to us, bought it in September last year, so 2022, for £6,500. He's got the receipt in there, and he sold it to me for $2,300. It is one of those types of cars, I suppose, but very expensive to keep on the road, run, maintain, keep in a good condition. So therefore, less and less of them end up on the road, and they become rarer. But of course, it's still almost the top of the range engine spec, at least for this car of that generation. So, you know, it's always going to be of interest to collectors. It's quite an impressive car, really. So let's have a look inside. We do have 2 keys, this being one of them, of course, with the, I don't know whether it's genuine. He did say it was very expensive. I don't know if he was being genuine or facetious. X keyring. We have remote central locking, which does a beep, which is quite annoying. I hate that on cars, where it beeps the horn or whatever. Feels unnecessary, but that's what we have. Let's hop inside and see what's in there. Oh yeah, door handle's a bit rubbish. You put on it gently. We're going to have to do some adjusting on here, but give it a good old yank and it comes open. Okay, so first thing to notice, we've got a huge panoramic roof, which I don't think is opening, but still very nice feature to have and would have been top of the range back in the day. This nice leather interior, which is heated front and rear. Yeah, on the whole, very comfortable, very nice place to be. Yeah, no complaints there, and in fact it's all in really good condition. Even the driver's seat's in really good condition actually, and the bolsters down my side here, which I'll try and show you, are in really good nick. They don't really show an awful lot of wear, especially for this car, which, as I say, is 19 years old and is on 141,600 miles or something, just under 142,000 miles. So considering the age and mileage, it's actually really impressive in here. As you'd expect, there's absolutely stacks of features in here, so I'm probably not going to remember everything, but I will go through and point out at least some of my favourite parts. We've got heated seats, the front being electronically adjustable. We've got a chiller armrest compartment, as well as there would have been a phone in here, or in fact, maybe there wasn't. There's no connections for a phone, so maybe that was an option, but this one perhaps had Bluetooth instead. We've got our cup holders down here with this weird little tray, which, is it just meant to be a coin tray and it's in that sort of shape for a particular reason, or is it just how it's designed? I don't know. It reminds me of our remote controller for our winch. Here is our second key, which actually I've only just noticed isn't cut, is it? So it's only a fob, does it? It does work, but it's not going to start the car, is it? We've got this nice BMW M Sport steering wheel, which features the M Sport colours stitching. Maybe that'll be more obvious when I show it this way, maybe not. BMW nuts among you may notice that this is a pre-facelift steering wheel on a facelift car. Why that is, I don't know, other than perhaps it's because the pre-facelift had paddle shifters and maybe the facelift didn't, or some versions didn't. I know that some of them in an automatic came with a facelift steering wheel that didn't seem to have paddle shifters on, so maybe someone's retrofitted this at a later date. Maybe it's just a crossover. I don't really know, but I expect there'll be a BMW expert out there who can tell us. We have automatic lights. We've got our air suspension here, so we can have a raised for off-roading, normal road height, and lowering for access, which would be getting into multi-storey car parks, things like that. That is all still working really well, so that's great. Down our instrument here, we've got hill descent, dynamic stability control, turn on and off. We've got parking sensors front and rear. We've got tyre pressure regulator monitors, I should say, which probably would have been pretty new at that time. Button to open the boot. We've got our LPG system controller down here, which when it's turned on will tell us how much LPG we have in this system and whether it's running on petrol or LPG. I can't remember exactly which way around it is, but I've had lots of cars with LPG systems and they all seem to have pretty much exactly this same system, or at least the same controllers. It's a bit weird to get used to. Once you do get used to, you kind of get up to say like 1500 RPM and it just switches over to LPG. The whole point of having the LPG system is that the price of the LPG is practically half that of petrol, and it's only slightly less efficient, I think. So yeah, you don't get any more miles per gallon, but it makes it half the price. So in a sense you can double your miles per gallon, because this thing is probably doing 20 miles per gallon at best. So you can make that equivalent of 40 miles per gallon by making the price cheaper, but of course you have got to find out an LPG filling station and fill it up, etc. So not as convenient, but it makes it cheaper, and it's obviously a very common, popular thing to have done on these big petrol engine cars. This car has been fitted with an Android head unit, which will fire into life now, which has got navigation on it, which uses Google Maps, which is really nice. And it's got CD, DVD, all that sort of good stuff in there, and it fits in kind of the same place that the standard head unit would. So it's a nice version. It still works with steering wheel controls, but there is one potential downside, which we'll get to when we get out on the road. I don't know if it's specifically for this head unit or it's something that happens on these cars, I don't know, because I'm having a similar sort of problem on my Porsche, so maybe I need to ask the guys in the workshop if they know anything about this, what this could be, because it's quite annoying, but we'll get back to that when we get out on the road. So here we are, we see that we're on 141,666 miles, sign of the beast. One thing I do quite like about this is you'll see the illuminated tachometer from 4,000 onwards there. Depending on the temperature, that moves around. When the car's fully up to temperature, all you have left is this red light, so you can go all the way up to 7,000 RPM, but as it's warming up, you get more of this orange section. So protecting the engine. It's kind of letting you know how hard you can push the car while it's warming up, which is quite cool. It's quite a neat feature. I imagine you probably get that on more modern cars, but it's kind of really obvious on this because it's analog dials, but with these LED light up sections. So here goes our panoramic roof shade going over, which in fact is still very nice and quiet and efficient. It gives you a bit more of a plush feeling when it's shut. Let's pop that open because it's handy for me to have as much light in here as possible. Features wise in the front, I don't think there's a huge amount more to tell you. Obviously it's got cruise control, steering wheel controls, all those sorts of things you expect. Electric windows all around. Other than that, I can't say there's a great deal to speak of, so let's hop in the back and have a look at what we got there. Okay, so here we are. Nice big seats in the back, plenty of leg room. We've got a fold down armrest, but no cup holders in there. I think we've got cup holders in the front. I should say that this probably would have had TV, but no longer does the TV button work. But we do have heated seats in the back, and we've got an auxiliary in and speaker, auxiliary out, so you could put your headphones in and listen to music in the back. Still a smart looking place to be, isn't it? And I can tell you it is very comfortable in here, and right behind me is a huge boot. Let's pop around and have a look at that. We have a split opening system on these X5s, E53 the model of this shape. So we've got split opening, wrong button. That folds down. Normally you'd have a lift up thing here, but as you can see that's raised. That is where our LPG system is stored. So our tank, I imagine it has got a flat boot floor tank in there. How big it is exactly, without looking at the paperwork, I don't know. But that is where our LPG tank is stored. As we say, filled it up from where the tow bar system would be, and it stores your LPG in there. So you've got two fuel tanks essentially. Makes it slightly more difficult to open the side panels, but here is a lot of our pretty messy looking wiring actually for the LPG system, and I imagine what would have been probably something to do with the original navigation system in there and radio, etc. But I imagine that's being removed when they've put the Android system in. I wonder if they had to put the Android system in to allow for this particular LPG system. Perhaps we will never know. Seems like we've acquired a rag and a trickle charger, which is quite nice. There's a couple of random bits of wood in there, which is strange, but nothing much else to report. Well, there's a solenoid, which would definitely be to do with the LPG system. So one thing you consider when you're buying an LPG car is that it is a modified vehicle. You know, it's not as original. We get two cigarette outlets in the boot, which is always very handy. That one's got something stuck in it by the looks of it. And we've still got the original parcel shelf, which is always nice to have. Does this one have a dog guard built in? It doesn't, and that is a disappointment. Another one of my, I should say, favourite features. It's not really a favourite feature, I think it's a bit stupid, but I like that it's got it. I guess it's a sign of the times when this car was made. But these electrically folding down seats. So you got a button back here, so I guess if I stand here and wait forever, that seat will go all the way flat, giving us this huge loading area. But if you wanted to do both sides, you would have to stand back here and hold both of them. Oh, it seems like that is as far as it's going to go. What the point of that is, perhaps that's so you can control, just so you want to get something slightly bigger in the boot maybe, without actually putting the seats down. You have to electronically do it. Bizarre. If we go around here, I can demonstrate. Fold that up, pull that, and we could just fold it down just like that, which in fact will also give us a better view of what's in there. Well, actually not a very good view at all, is it? So yeah, that would give you an absolutely huge boot. You probably put a double bed in there if you wanted to. And on top of that, you also have this adjustment on a switch here as well. Oh, it doesn't seem to want to work on this side. Nor that side. Strange. Maybe there's something to do when the doors are shut. I don't know. But at least interesting to know that you have got reclinable rear seats for maximum comfort in the back. Right, let's pop the bonnet and have a look at this V8. Here we are, absolutely huge engine. I'm pretty certain this will be something to do with the LPG system, LPG injectors or something, because it doesn't look BMW, does it? Nothing huge to report in here. I'll have a quick look at the coolant and the oil. So, coolant looking lovely and green. Hopefully it's meant to have green in there. I can't even say, oh, there's our oil cap. Can I get it open with my puny fingers? Let's just pull the dipstick out. Okay, so looks pretty clean. Maybe we'll give it a service. We'll figure out when it was last done. I think we probably serviced this last year for the previous owner. My favourite bit of this engine bay though is the washer jet reservoir. Look at the size of it. I like the fact that they've put 7.8 litres on there, because I imagine every comment they got during development was, Jesus, wonder how big that is. That's huge. How big is that? There it is, 7.8 litres. Can you stop asking now? For some reason, the X5 needs 7.8 litres of washer jet fluid. Frankly, this is one of those engine bays where I can't really tell you much because it's all enclosed. I can't see any leaks or anything nasty or anything like that, but frankly, I don't know what's going on under there. So let's shut it down, let's fire it up, let's hear how this sounds, because it's pretty decent, and then we'll take it for a spin. Okay, so one thing I didn't mention was service history, but believe me, there is an absolute stack of it. There's a big red folder down here in the footwell that the chap I bought this from has given me. Includes everything from the LPG system to the full service history that it's got, but he did make a big point of saying, can you make sure you take all my information out of there, which we do anyway for GDPR. We've got to kind of etch out all the previous keeper's information, but I haven't actually had a chance to do that. I just thought, oh, I got this car here today. I actually got this up for sale already, and I don't think it's going to hang around for too long, so I haven't had a chance to do that yet. I thought, oh, I'll just film a video before this car goes, and I don't get a chance to film it. So rest assured, it's got really good history, and I'm not trying to sell it to you because I think I've probably already sold it. Now, the one annoying thing I was saying about the sound system earlier, I don't know if you better hear it if I slowly accelerate. Sounds like I've got a dentist drill in here following me around. It's not the gearbox. It's definitely coming through the sound system. Doesn't matter if the stereo's on or off, but I imagine there's some kind of interference coming from the alternator or something through these speakers. And I get a similar sort of thing happening in my Porsche, and I think it's probably to do with the aftermarket head unit and the signal decoder that they have in them. For some reason, and some of them, can you hear that? It really gets on your nerves after a while, and the faster you go, or in fact, not the faster you go, the faster the engine's going, the higher pitched the sound is. But the louder you turn the radio, the louder it gets as well. So there's a sort of midpoint where you can drown it out, but you go much louder than that and it just gets even louder. Anyway, that minor irritation out the way. Let's see how this thing drives. It is a comfortable car, seats are very comfortable, it's relatively easy to drive, steering is quite heavy, but it certainly doesn't soak up the road and is not as easy to drive as something like a Range Rover. I guess that's part of the point, a bit like the Cayenne. This is a bit sportier than your average Range Rover. It's got an awesome V8 noise, but it's pretty well refined while you're driving along normally. You just get that nice burble. But let's put it into manual mode and see how Larry we can get it. Bit upsetting that it chose to shift up for me there. long before the red line. We are in manual mode, but it's still choosing to shift for me. It certainly feels very well planted and balanced. And the brakes are really surprisingly good as well. That is shifting for a big, heavy car. It's certainly not slow, but I dread to think how much that was just costing petrol. I've got to say, I do think this feels a lot more planted and confidence inspiring than the Cayenne does. The Cayenne-S that we have in stock of the same era as this. The heated seats definitely work better as well because the Cayenne-S hasn't got them. I don't know why, but the E53 X5 never really appealed to me that much. I always thought it was a bit too tall and the tyres were a bit too wide. It just looked a bit ridiculous, and it's a bit too firm for a 4x4 kind of luxury car for my personal taste. But yeah, I don't think my opinion's changed either. But I have to admit, it is quite an impressive car for what it is, for how quick it is, for how heavy and cumbersome this car is. It does handle and drive incredibly well. Despite it being slightly better performance-wise, I think I still have the Cayenne. I think it's a much prettier car. It's far more interesting. It's just a bit more unique as well. There's an awful lot of these on the road, and most of them are in an awful state. And they've reached a certain age now where they're owned by perhaps not the type of driving class that you want to be associated with. You do not want people coming up to your window and asking you what you've got for sale, if you know what I mean. There's something about driving one of these that just makes it feel like it's twice as heavy as a Range Rover Sport, and I doubt there's anything in the weight, but the heavy steering and stiff ride just makes it feel like you're driving a tank. I can certainly appreciate what an incredible car this is, but it's just not one that I would buy for myself. Certainly not this one with the dentist drill wearing away, giving me an absolutely splitting headache. Couple that with the fuel consumption, currently doing 17.8 miles per gallon, and I feel sick too. But again, if you're in the market for an SUV that has incredible performance and sounds amazing, then this certainly ticks the boxes. And if you want something that could well be a long-term investment as well, then, well, it's a full house really. I think this will go up in value if it's looked after. Perhaps I try and buy one that's in slightly better condition than this one. And I wonder whether one without an LPG conversion, you know, having not been messed around with, in the long run will be worth more money. Of course, in a sense, it's a bonus having the LPG system. It's making it cheaper to run, but later on in life it's going to be troublesome, cause you problems. It's just taken away from the original authenticity of the car. Or has it? I don't know. You let me know in the comments what you think. Would you rather own one of these with an LPG system or without? Talking cult status and investment purposes only, that is. So there we have it, guys. Just a quick video on this BMW X5 4.8 IS. As I say, I bought this in for 2.3. We've already put it up for 4,000. I'm hoping someone's lined up to buy it and it won't be around for too long. I may well have underpriced that because I cannot find another one of these looking on Auto Trader for under about £8,000. You can find plenty of the 4.4s for a lot cheaper, but not the 4.8. Could I have held out for a bit more money, especially considering the previous owner bought it for £6,500, you know, 3/4 of a year ago? Possibly, but I'm not looking to be greedy. You know, it is what it is. It's not a perfect car. It's got some blemishes and whatever. I'd quite happily just take a quick, you know, decent profit. It'd still be an incredible profit. This is not one of those cars I want to be particularly greedy on. In fact, E53 X5s make me slightly nervous. I've had bad experiences with them before. One thing I should mention with this one as well, being LPG and one that we've looked after before, that occasionally the engine management light will come on. Using the LPG system, it gives slightly off readings from the O2 sensors and the exhaust, which throws up your engine management light. It doesn't affect the way it drives or anything like that, but it's something you have got to clear. It's something that's going to crop up with someone that we're selling it to, so it's being sold with that in mind. You know, bear in mind the engine management light may come on sometimes because of the LPG system. It burns differently, and therefore the O2 sensors read differently, etc., etc. It's not an ideal situation to be selling a car, so yeah, for that reason, about 4,000. Probably could have gone for more, but, you know, like I say, not trying to get retire on this car. So I think it's a nice car. Why not sell it for a nice little profit and let someone have a bargain? Here's Bash for all of those who have asked for him. Coming up, Bash? Coming up? No. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please do subscribe to the channel. And otherwise, I will see you next time.